Welcome back. So, my favorite step in makeup is eyeshadow palettes. I love everything about them, looking at them, buying them, talking about them, and most definitely using them and even ranking them. So, I thought, why not find in my collection my top 20 palettes of all time? And not only am I going to show them to you, but I'm also going to rank them. So if you guys are interested in seeing my top 20 palettes of all time, then just keep watching. We don't need to be worried. We don't need lots of money. So tonight put your hands in the air. Act like you just don't care. If this is your first time here, hi, my name is Heather. I love all things makeup, especially colorful makeup and indie brands. And if you guys love those things too, I really hope you will subscribe. If you do, don't forget to click the little bell so you can be notified of all my future uploads. But with that being said, I'm so freaking excited to show you guys all of my favorite palettes. So at this very moment in time, I own 152 eyeshadow palettes, and to go through my collection and find my top 20 was actually really hard. I mean, some of them were really easy, but I left out a lot of favorites because I wanted to give you my absolute favorites of all time. But even harder than that was ranking them. Now, I love every single one of these palettes. I recommend every single one of them. I think everything about them is perfect. The color stories, the formulas, all in all, they are just wonderful. I think you guys get the point. But I'm going to start at number 20 and work my way up to number 1. And coming in at number 20, I had to give it to the GLAMLITE Ice Cream Dream Palette. This was my first ever GLAMLITE palette, and this is one that I still love so very much. Now, for me, this is the only palette that I'm going to mention that is not a standalone palette, but the reason I love this so much is this bottom 3 rows. These pastels are so freaking perfect. They're some of the best pastels in my collection, and not only do you have the pastel mattes, but you also have the pastel shimmers. This is such a freaking perfect companion palette, and I truly love it with my whole entire heart. Coming in at number 19 is another palette from GLAMLITE, and it is the Betty Boop. I was really shocked at how much I actually really love this palette because the colors in this palette I didn't think would be my favorite. I do like pinks and reds, but they're not my favorite to work with. But the shimmers and the mattes in this palette are so freaking spectacular. I truly cannot recommend it enough. The looks that I created with this are absolutely beautiful. I do have a video using this palette on my channel, but I love this one so much. It has the really good GLAMLITE formula in it, and that's another one that I truly highly recommend. I'm probably going to say that a lot, but I can't help myself. And the same could be said for this one. It is Unearthly's Sorceress Smoke. This is the most perfect neutral palette in my collection. I love it with my whole entire heart. The looks that I got from this are incredible. I love how swampy and foresty this palette is. This shade down here, Prophecy, just takes me out. The shimmers. Unearthly has one of my all-time favorite shimmer formulas, and I truly love it so much. I do have a code with Unearthly. It is AOML, and I'll have all those details linked down below in my description box. Now, this one is an old favorite. It's not available anymore, but there's no way I couldn't not mention it. But it is the Kaleidos Club Nebula. This was done in collaboration with Angelica Nyquist. And look at her. Like, there's so much pan in that eyeshadow palette. I've gotten so much use out of this. I love this palette with my whole heart. I'm so glad that I picked it up. And I think she did such a great job with this one. Every time I see someone declutter it, I'm like, I wish so much they would just give it to me. I would love to have a fresh one. But like I said, it is gone. Coming in at number 16 This is the first palette that I tried from DIEVERUNES Cosmetics. It is the Gloomy Gardens palette. And first of all, the artwork is gorgeous. I love the color combos, but I feel like they just knocked it out of the park. They did just release another palette, which I do plan on picking it up. It is an all shimmer palette, but the mattes and the shimmers in here are so freaking incredible. I had so much fun playing with it. And I love looking at like the artwork on the cover and finding out what colors look good together. It's a really fun way to come up with color combos and new concepts. I just had a blast with that one. Number 15 has to go to the LUNAR Beauty Moonshroom palette. This palette is a #1 palette. It's so freaking amazing. But the other ones before this are just top favorites. There was no way I could put it higher, but I really, really, really love this color story. I think it is so beautiful. I love the matte formula and the shimmers. They're so impactful and just gorgeous. I love how it goes from really light to really dark. I just had so much fun with this. I've used this one so many times off camera, but I also have a video with it as well. This palette made me fall head over heels in love with Cosmic Beauty. This is a Serenity palette. I love this. This color story is everything. I love blues and greens together. I love the pop of orange. The undertones of these greens are just freaking incredible. The formulas in here are incredible. The price is more affordable. It's like around $30, which for indie brands right now is really cheap. So this is such a good one. Even if I would pay $70, $80 for this palette. It is truly amazing. It's such a good one. And it's the reason why I have purchased every single thing that they have released since then. And I love those as well. But that one is definitely my top favorite. You will definitely see a lot of brand repeats in this video because I definitely have my favorite brands, which is why I have to mention Unearthly Cosmetics again. This is the Fall Magic. It's the remastered version. Unfortunately, I never got the original. I didn't even know about Unearthly then, and I wish I would have. But this palette is beautiful. Like I said, the shimmers are so amazing. They're so like impactful, so shimmery and beautiful, but they're very smooth and thin. So you don't have to worry about creasing or anything like that. The matte formula is one of my all-time favorites. I've had so much fun with all of my Unearthly palettes. I love them very, very much. Now, the next brand has quickly become one of my top favorites, and that is NOMAD. This is the New Zealand Stargazing palette, and this palette made me realize how much I really enjoy cool tones. I think they did such a freaking amazing job with this one. The shimmers you have some multi-chromes in here, and they are so freaking beautiful. You have some duochromes, and the mattes are so pigmented and buttery and easy to blend. It's just all around a really fun brand to try out if you haven't tried them yet. Their color stories are just freaking gorgeous as well. Plus, I love that they do donations to whatever their palettes are themed around. I think that's really cool. This palette made me fall head over heels in love with Gourmand Girls, and I definitely want to pick up some of their older stuff. But we have the NUEVA VIDA coming in at number 11. This was a collab with STEFF'S Beauty Stash, and I think this palette is freaking gorgeous. It's glorious. The shimmers are beautiful. I love the color story that she picked out. The combos are so fun. I felt so much inspiration when using this palette, and every time I look at it, I want to create another look with it because I truly just had such a blast with it. And also, I should have a video coming with what I used for this look today. If it's not up already, if it is, I'll link it down below in my description box. Now we are at my top 10, and coming in at number 10 is the Simply Posh Aurora Lights. They did just come out with another palette, plus they brought back Citrus Punch, and I do plan on picking up both of those, but I love this. This palette is so freaking beautiful. I really love how it goes from light to dark again, but the layout makes this palette so easy to use. Plus the formula is really easy to use as well. These mattes are really pigmented, but they're really easy to blend. They layer on themselves, which is something that I really love. But the shimmers are gorgeous as well. I think this is a very like beginner friendly eyeshadow palette because of the layout alone. But that is such a great palette, and I truly can't wait to pick up the other ones, especially Citrus Punch. That's the one I'm really like eyeballing. I have been since it first released. Coming in at number 9, we have Ensley Cosmetics. I love them. I'm falling so head over heels in love with this brand, which is why I have a code. And again, it'll be down in my description box, but it is AOML if you are interested. But I love the Groovy Garden palette. It's like mushroom themed, and you guys can see by my background, I love mushrooms. But this palette is so freaking gorgeous. The shimmers, I cannot tell you enough how freaking amazing they are. One of the top best shimmer formulas in my collection by far. But the mattes, the color combos, I've had so much fun with this palette. I truly just cannot express that enough, which is why it made it into the top 10. There's no way in hell it wasn't going in the top 10. Such a good one. And then coming in at number 8, we have another palette from Bella Beauty Bar. It is the Basic Witch palette, and the color story just speaks for itself. Bella Beauty Bar is one of my favorite brands of all time. They're up there with Unearthly Cosmetics, which is crazy to even think about, but I love them so much. Honestly, I think they are tied with Unearthly at this point, but I love this palette. I really want to get the Recently De-Influenced, but this one is just beautiful. The shimmers are so fun, so impactful, and I love the mattes that they chose. The shade up here, Grimoire, is one of my favorites, but this one, Cauldron, is it speaks for itself. It's so freaking beautiful. I love it so much. I'm going to swatch this on my leg because I'm too lazy to get up and look for a makeup wipe. This next palette really took me by freaking surprise, and it's from GLAMLITE. It's the Garfield palette, and this palette is so freaking incredible. This is my favorite GLAMLITE palette of all time. The mattes, the color story, first of all. The color story is perfect. I did not expect to freaking fall in love with this palette the way that I have, but the shimmers are so incredible. The shimmers in this remind me of the ones from Unearthly. They're similar, not as good as the ones from Unearthly, but really freaking close. And I think they did such a great job. I love the artwork, how it looks like a cartoon and they got everything like all outlined in black. I think it's so fun, and I'm so glad that I picked that one up. Coming in at number 6, we have the Unearthly Cosmetics Don't Be Jelly. This one is newer to my collection, but this is such a neat color story. I love this so much. I think it's so beautiful. I love the mattes and I love the shimmers. I think these colors paired together are so beautiful. This seafoam green shade goes so well with the purples and the blues, like an inner corner pop. I just had so much fun playing with this one, and it's one I definitely want to play with more, like pairing coral with sea urchin in the outer corner and then luminescence on the lid. I think that would be so beautiful, and I've had so much fun with it, but I definitely am not done creating with that one, that's for sure. Now we are down to my top 5 palettes of all freaking time. I love these, and I'm pretty sure every one of them are still available. I truly cannot recommend them more. Honestly, if any of these palettes were ever taken from me or were broken or anything like that, I would literally trip over myself to repurchase them because I love them so much, but especially these top 5. The top 5 are ones that have truly just taken my breath. Like, sometimes when you are doing your eyeshadow and you go to put something on the lid and it truly just makes you gasp, like so excited, and just you can picture the look in your head being complete. That's what these palettes do for me. And coming in at number 5, we have the Daily Grind by Unearthly Cosmetics. The color story. Orange and green are my 2 favorite colors of all time, and they truly put them together in the best freaking way. These shades are so freaking beautiful. But the greens that they chose to go with these more orange and the mustard, it's so grungy, but so perfect at the same time. I recently picked this one up last month, maybe a little longer, and I've been head over heels in love with it ever since. I definitely need to do an Instagram reel with this one. Actually, I did one. I'm going to try to pop it up on the screen if it doesn't copyright me, but it made me laugh so freaking hard that I have to share it with you. But I just love this with my whole heart. I truly cannot recommend it more. It's such a perfect little 9 pan palette. It's a grind with a punch. Coming in at number 4, listen, this was my first palette from Fantasy Cosmetica. And as soon as I get the money, I'm going on that site and I'm probably going to buy every palette on it. This is so freaking incredible. And I have the new Cradle and Ice collection, and that one's incredible too. I didn't allow myself to put my last 10 palettes that I haven't ranked yet in this because I didn't feel like it was fair because I haven't used them enough yet. But there are some that definitely could have been in this video, but this palette truly just took my breath away. It reminds me of A Starry Night painting, but I love this. This color combination is truly everything. I never ever thought about pairing these colors together, but I'm so glad that they did because I've never felt more freaking inspired in my whole life. This shade, I show it to you guys all the time, but it's a hollow chrome and it's so beautiful. I cannot stand it. Now I do need a makeup wipe because that one's dark, but it's so freaking good. I love it so much. I never thought about pairing blue and yellow, but blue is one of my favorite colors to wear in eyeshadow. And with that yellow inner corner pop, truly is freaking chef's kiss. They really just killed it. I am so ready to get more from the brand now. Now we're here down to my top 3, and this was hard. This was really hard. Honestly, the top 10 were extremely difficult, but especially the top 3 because I love them so much. But coming in at number 3, I have the Dead Roses palette. This has been my favorite palette that I have tried all year until recently, and for good reason. The color shifts on these freaking multi-chromes make me gasp. I lost my mind when I swatched this palette and used it. I love the unexpected shifts of green. I think they did such a freaking incredible job. Just looking at this makes me more happy than I could truly ever describe, but their eyeshadow formula is truly one of the best, and that's why they're one of my absolute favorites as well. I just love them so freaking much, and I could not recommend that one more. And then coming in at number 2 is one of my absolute top favorites. Obviously, it is the Unearthly Cosmetics Devour palette. I'm pretty sure this is available again because it was just a part of a box and then she brought it back as a standalone. And there's something about these color combos that just take my breath away. The sangria shades with the greens and these shades over here are literally to die for. I love that it goes from extremely light to extremely dark, Those are totally my type of looks, but this palette is so freaking perfect. I love the artwork as well. I love all the artwork that Unearthly does. I just think they're such a freaking fun brand. It's like if my soul could be an eyeshadow brand, I think it would be Unearthly Cosmetics, for real. And last but certainly not least, literally coming in at number one is the Secret Garden from Bella Beauty Bar. This palette is so freaking perfect and beautiful. We have another one of those holochromes too. It's similar to the one in the Wizard palette, but it is a little different. Like, do you see that? That like makes me want to freaking scream. It makes me so happy. But I love this. I love the colors that they put together. You can totally get like those watermelon vibes out of this. You can do neutrals. You could get fall looks out of this, spring looks, summer looks. It's just an absolute freaking perfect palette. I think they did such an incredible job. I love it so much. Honestly, for it to knock Dead Roses down, I'm pretty obsessed with it because Dead Roses, like I said, has been my favorite all year long. I think they killed it. But Bella Beauty Bar, Fantasy Cosmetica, Unearthly Cosmetics, and Ensley Rain, Nomad, those are some of my absolute favorite brands of all time. And they're definitely brands to watch, at least in my opinion. Everything they come out with just really captivates me. It makes me feel so inspired to play with makeup. And this is my escape. It's the place that I go to and the thing that I do that brings me the most joy and just gives me a peace of mind. It makes me feel just freaking happy to be alive. And I know that's like extreme, but I'm an extreme person. But these are my top 20 favorite palettes of all time. You guys are going to have to let me know what your at least top 5 are. I would love to hear your thoughts down below. But if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. It really does help me out. And until next time, bye.